If you pray, and I'm assuming you do if you're listening to this podcast, I'll bet there have been times in your life when God didn't answer that prayer. A prayer, many prayers. I know that's been the case for me many times. And through my faith journey, I've come to learn that there's a reason why God didn't answer my prayer. And it's usually because I was praying for something that wasn't in alignment with His will at all. Or it just wasn't the right time for His answered prayer. So we're going to dive into that today, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you about that. I hope you'll join me. Welcome to Longing for More, where Christians come to strengthen their faith, revive their soul, and learn to live their lives with a sense of fulfillment and peace. Listen each week to learn how to incorporate your faith into your daily activities, stop wandering through life feeling empty and unfulfilled, and begin to live your more. Let's get started. We can all tell stories about times when we prayed that it wouldn't rain so our party wouldn't get ruined, or that the light would change because we were running late for work, or there would maybe be a parking spot close because we didn't have time to walk, or, any number of things. And, we kind of don't think that much of it when those prayers don't get answered, even though we do get excited when they do. But I want to talk a little bit about a time, nearly 40 years ago now, when I had a really big prayer I was praying fervently for. I was a young college-age girl, and my boyfriend and I had broken up and thought we would give it a try and reconcile. And, well, the reconciliation didn't work, but I walked away from that time as a now young single college-age girl that was pregnant. And oh man, I prayed that He would come around, and He would, when He learned about my situation, He would have a change of heart and come back to me. And God's answer was crickets. There was, I don't know that I remember that ever getting that sense that it was a solid no, but it definitely wasn't a yes. And then I started praying that, well, okay, I'm going to finish my college degree. Hopefully I can get a good job, and I'll meet a man that will love us both, and all of that. I was just so desperate to have my life come together. And it took me like a year and a half maybe to get to the point where I was finished with college. And it was so amazing because even though it seemed like those prayers were being unanswered during that whole time, all of a sudden it was like God said, okay, you were obedient. You did what I asked you to do. You finished your college degree. You applied for this job, and, all of these things came together. And all of a sudden I got a job, and I found a cute little house for me and my son to live in, moved back home. And within a week or two, met the man that I ultimately would marry. And what a gift, that unanswered prayer was truly one of the greatest gifts that God has ever given me. And when I think of Garth Brooks' song, Unanswered Prayer, I truly, truly do feel blessed that God did not say yes to that initial prayer. And part of that was because I now realize that it wasn't in alignment with God's will. He did not want me to spend my life with a man who didn't love Him, who didn't worship Him, and He wanted me to grow in my faith and come closer to Him, and I wouldn't have in that relationship. Fortunately, the relationship that I did get, and am still married to this wonderful man, who raised my son as his own. We've had just such a beautiful life. So I'm just really, really grateful for that unanswered prayer, and I'm grateful that I didn't give up hope in that time. There have been other times in our lives, as I'm sure there have been in yours, where I didn't get things that I wanted. Years later, I retired from my 30-year career in affordable housing. I was going to go off and be this amazing health coach and help people with all their health challenges and lose weight and get over all kinds of problems that are related to stress and work-related things. And it didn't really happen. And I prayed that God would, bring me customers and clients and all of that, and He didn't. And then I started to realize that that was because, again, I wasn't in alignment. I was going at it for the wrong reasons. I wanted to have, financial success, and I wanted people to look to me as the person that was going to solve all of their problems. And that wasn't the role that God had intended for me. Instead, what he really wanted was for me to focus on him and how I could serve him and the people he brings into my life better. And the only way that was going to happen was for me to not get wrapped up in the career that I thought I was going after. It was in those many repeated no's. No, you can't. You're not going to get that client. That program's not going to be a success. All of these things that I just kept trying and failing were things that, as each time I would stop and I would look for the lesson in the no, I would look for the why, Lord. And in that response, God went to the word and then found my answer. And my answer was because he wanted me to want him and seek him first. And I would only do that because I wasn't, quote, having the great life, living the success that I thought that I wanted. I learned to redefine my success and redefine what I wanted out of life. And the irony in that is that even though I was, quote, successful before, I wasn't really fulfilled by what I was doing. And I certainly didn't have peace in that life. And now that I've come around and realized that I now make time, my priority is spending time in the Word and in prayer and in conversations with God and doing the things that he wants me to do that I learn about because I'm in his Word and in prayer and all of that. It's all of a sudden, it's like he is enough. Anything else that I might get out of the work that I do now it's wonderful and it's a great reward, but it's because I'm helping others learn that he is enough and that knowing him and having that relationship is really what it's all about. And so again, that unanswered prayer is truly a gift. I'm so much more fulfilled in doing the work that I am and pointing, shining, reflecting God's light to the world. Hopefully, I don't even know sometimes who's listening and what's going on. Once I release my podcast, once I put out those social media posts, once my book is out in the world and who's read it and who shared it, I don't know. I don't get to know. And that's okay because I know that I'm doing what God's asking me to do. And I hope that you are too. I hope that you are listening, you're in the Word and you're praying with him and you're listening for his answer for what he wants for you out of life. Because the closer that you get to know him because of those activities, the more in alignment you are going to be in his will and the more answered prayers, the positive answers that he will give you. In my devotion this week, it pointed us to the scripture in Matthew 7, where he talks about the prayer, keep on asking and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and everyone who knocks the door will be opened. And so for me, that is just affirmation that, I just keep trying and find joy in the relationship and in the efforts that I'm putting out there, not in necessarily the results, because they are just the ancillary to having that relationship. But those verses then go on to talk about how, a good father would never give their children a snake or stale bread. And I think about the fact that, we as parents wouldn't either. If our child wanted us to give them a scorpion as a pet or a tarantula or a rattlesnake, we would be, oh, no way. Never would we want them to have that in their life. Sometimes the things that we ask for are equivalent to that. We're asking for the things that can be really harmful to us and in fact could possibly ruin our lives. And so God says no, or He just remains silent and doesn't say anything. But if we hold tight and we keep knocking and we keep asking and we keep reading his scripture and looking for his will, then we will align what we want with what he wants. And then that's the beauty. That's where the joy comes from. So I just encourage you to not give up. Continue to pray and ask for what you want and ask to be in alignment with God's will. So, truly when you're in that word, learn to learn who God is and ask for what he wants. Ask for knowledge. Ask for patience and wisdom and love and understanding. If you ask for those things, he will give it to you. I promise you, he will give it to you. So when you're asking for something and you're not getting what you want, really go back to, what are you asking for? Is it in alignment with God's will? Is it possible? Like for me, he's actually got something better for you than what you're asking for. So just be patient. Open your mind to the possibilities of what he has in store for you. You may be in a valley right now, and you may be really questioning what God has in store for you. You may be questioning what God has in store for our world. It's a mess. I get it. But if we just keep our mind open to the possibility of what might be on the other side of this valley, it could be so beautiful. That next vista may be the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen in your life. So just be patient. Keep praying with expectation that God is going to answer your prayer. And just another side note with that, there are some things happening in our world that aren't beautiful. And I have conversations all the time with people that will say, I don't know, there isn't anything I can do. I feel so helpless. All I can do is pray, or I just pray because I don't know what else to do. And I just want to stop that thought. Don't ever downplay prayer. Don't say just pray, because that minimizes prayer. Prayer is the most powerful thing that you can do for anyone. So pray for our countries. Pray for our leaders, both at the national, state, the community, the church, the school districts, everywhere, in your home, everywhere. Pray for the leadership and the people who are following those leaders, that they will have wisdom and discernment and a wish to line up with God's will. And just know that prayer is such a beautiful gift. And I could go on for hours, and I'm not going to do that right now. I feel like I've rambled on long enough with you today. But I just really want to thank you for stopping by. I want to encourage you to just go to prayer about everything. Just make it an ongoing conversation with God. And when it feels like he's not answering, know that he's listening and he's working on something, and it's going to be beautiful. And even if it's not until the other side of this earth, know that it's going to be beautiful, and to believe in him and trust in him. And he's got your back. He's right there waiting for you. So, which brings me to not next week. I always say that. It's in 2 weeks. I'm going to release an episode that we're going to talk about the gift of faith. And I'm going to talk about it in relationship with faith in surviving breast cancer, or truly any kind of cancer, or any kind of challenge that we have in life, and that ability to just trust God and continue to have faith when it doesn't look like we have any reason to do that. So I hope you'll come back for that. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed this session, I hope that you'll subscribe to the show so you always get it. I would love it if you would go out and do a review, because that way more people will find the show. And if you're interested in learning more about how you can look at life from a different view, or how you can become equipped to live your faith every day, sign up for my newsletter. I've got some exciting things coming, and I would love to have you join us for that. So again, thank you so much for stopping by today. And I just pray that you will go, you will be blessed, and that you will always, always live your more.